What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. It's another episode of Nerds in Suits Live. It's Monday night. I thought we maybe actually had the whole thing working. I kind of thought we had it, but it seems like maybe we actually don't have it because I feel like there were some shenanigans as far as the stuff went. Oh no, guys! What has happened? What has happened to my stream? I'm doing my best here to keep it together, though. Can you guys hear me okay? Am I coming in with clean audio? Am I coming in with clean video? Did the intro song play correctly? I'm hoping it's all working correctly. I have been working tirelessly all day to try to figure it out. There are a number of things that I think we figured out. One of which is, I think, finally, I could be wrong about this, but I think I have my audio, my video, my Streamlabs alert box figured out. So the first Streamlabs of the day, I think, the first Streamlabs donation, I think you guys are going to see and hear the thing on the screen. Let's hope it works. I definitely spent some time today on this, so you guys let me know. I'm certainly looking forward to it. I'm hoping that we are going to be able to hear it. But anyway, guys, it's Monday night. It was a great weekend. I had sort of a birthday week on some level, which, I feel like a birthday week is not really something that's like, once you're like an adult, you have as much. I do have a quick shout out here from, look at that. Wait. Okay, that's what happened. So that's a super chat. So Andrew Hayes, you get the there's an image that came up on screen for me. Hopefully you guys also saw that. And then Streamlabs, we got a
100%, Utah. Good job.
Yes, it worked. It worked, guys. Wow, it's the little things in life. That's exciting stuff for me, for all of us. Hopefully you guys could hear it, because I could hear it. Anyway, so but Andrew Hayes, who jumped in here just for a second, says that he cannot stick around today. He's got to jump out of here. Can't stay for very long. So I came to say hi. That's Ben's gonna lose on Wednesday. Hayes, we shall see about that, my friend. I'm very much looking forward to Wednesday. It's gonna be a great show. But yeah, guys. So I think hopefully that part of it did work. Yes, you guys can all see it and hear it. You got to see some naked Swayze doing yoga. You hear a little Point Break reference. Yep, it's exactly right. Jake, old man figuring out technology. It was a thing. Oh, I'm sweating. Anyway, guys. So yeah, it was a great birthday weekend. Great birthday week. I got to see a lot of friends over the weekend, which was really, really awesome. It was a good time. People were very, very sweet, and and it was just nice. It feels in a lot of ways like, at least in the States here, we're really starting to get back to a sense of normalcy. You know, the pandemic is not over. There are still people dying. There are still people refusing to take the vaccine. But for those of us,
Good job.
100% Utah. It's never gonna get old for me, guys. Ever. It'll never get old. Yeah, I'm just genuinely excited to be getting back to seeing people and hanging out, and that matters a lot to me. So the weekend was fun. Some Schmodown friends. Got to had another great stream last night with Drew. Had a really, really good time doing that, and yeah, we're getting into the summer now. So gonna be kind of a weird stream, a little bit up and down. A lot of stuff that I want to talk to you guys about. There's some Schmodown stuff. There's some music update stuff that I want to talk to you guys about, which I'm pretty pumped about. There's some health stuff I just kind of want to, talk through with you guys a little bit, because today's been a little bit of a bear, unfortunately, just in terms of my mental health and sort of how I'm dealing with a lot of my health stuff. It's a super day-to-day process, as many of you who have, I'm sure, your own health issues know. It sucks. Some days are good, some days are bad. It's up to you. It's up to you to kind of face that. So I will talk a little bit about that as well. But yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff going on, some wonderful updates. I became a member of the local theater, the Arrow, which is in my neighborhood. It's an awesome theater over on Montana in Santa Monica. It's a classic theater. It's been around for a very, very long time. They show classic movies there all the time. The funny thing is, it is so popular that it reopened and every single showing sold out. So I became a member for the year, and I can't get any tickets to anything for like a month. But the second that I can, I'm going to jump on it. I want to be able to see stuff. They're showing 2001 Space Odyssey this week. They're showing Lawrence of Arabia next week. A lot of really, really cool stuff that I'm very excited to go watch. So as soon as I'm able to, I'm planning on getting some tickets to go see some shows there. That was exciting. But yeah, otherwise, the other stuff that I want to talk to you guys about, some Schmodown stuff. We've got a great study session coming up on Wednesday. Andrew Hayes already jumped in and pointed that one out. He and I are going to be going mano-a-mano on Wednesday in the 5-round once a month that I do against one patron. I've had a pretty good track record so far, but we shall see. Looks like Carly in here setting this for science. Testing. Also, hi. Good to see you, Carly. Thank you so much for that donation, for the support. All you guys. I did actually have one come in earlier that I'm going to get to in a second here as well. So yeah, wonderful to have you guys all here. JD Domash, testing, 1, 2, 3. Hi, Ben. What's up, JD? How you doing, brother? And this one that came in a little bit earlier, Dragon 17. At some point, you would you go into IG or Star Wars for real? I feel sometimes you diminish their level of play because, quote, they have a set movie list, and I really think it's harder than you think. It would be great for your resume to have an IG title, though. I will talk about that. I will get back to that once we sort of get into Schmodown talk, because I want to just kind of give you guys a little bit more of a life update, talk about a few things first before we kind of fully get into that. So some of the other stuff going on in my world that I do want to talk to. It's just good every time. It's amazing. Call Son Galactus. Thank you so much for that. Just want to hear 100% Utah again. Yeah, I'll keep getting those updated now that I've cracked the code and I actually know how to get that going. It should be a little bit easier and more fun to keep messing around with new alerts. But so yeah, I saw some movies this last week. I saw The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard on Thursday. I'll probably post a review for that this week at some point. Probably over on Action is when I'll post a review for that one. I saw In the Heights on Monday of last week, and I really loved it. I thought it was really fantastic, as this is kind of a music-oriented channel. I will talk a little bit about that as well. I am seeing Fast 9 on Thursday, which I'm very, very, very excited for. And yeah, there's a lot of cool movies going on right now. Like a lot of good stuff releasing. It's just exciting to have movies back on the menu. It feels like movie theaters really are kind of back. So I'll talk a little bit about that as well. And yeah, I think that's kind of the general gist of what I mostly want to talk about. I wrote a new song yesterday. I got a verse and a chorus, mostly in. And done, which I'm very excited for. What I think I might actually start out with is I got a package in the mail today from the folks over at it's a promotional company that's repping Godzilla Kong. They're working with Legendary, and they sent Drew and I these boxes of goodies to talk about. So I think I'm going to do an unboxing, maybe just of this. So maybe we start here. And we'll kind of move into the other stuff. But, yeah, so these guys sent this over. So, I opened the box, and right at the top here, it's a fun one. Right at the top here, you got Godzilla, and you got Kong. So, and they've got it looks like they got Try Me features as well, which is pretty sweet. I do have a niece and nephew who probably will love these. Let's see. Try Me. There's a button I can press on Godzilla. What? Try Me. Press button to activate. What button? What button are we talking about here, guys? Come on. Old man Bateman can't even figure out how to push the button on the Godzilla. Yeah. Where the fuck's the button? What's going on here? Yeah. Oh, here it is. There we go. Okay, rock and roll. So we got the Godzilla, and then we got a Kong as well here. Looking for the Kong button. Press button on back. Oh, here we go. Okay, so Kong we got. All right, so we got the Godzilla and we got the Kong. That's the first things in the box here. Let's put these over here. Stuff like this is how you see, nerds end up with like just these just shelves and shelves and shelves of 40-year-old virgin type of stuff. It's probably because they have YouTube channels and they get sent the stuff in the mail and then they open them and then they just like go on a shelf. All right, so this is the other thing. We've got a Godzilla versus Kong box. Here we go. All right, so I think this is to commemorate the release on Blu-ray. Okay, that's all we got. All right, let's see what's in here. Let's see here. Lucas, good to see you. Can't even push a button. Guys, look, I figured out the button. It only took me a second, okay? All right. Oh, there we go. Sound effects. Okay, let's see. Oh, nice. That's like a whole thing when it opens there. Pretty cool. Okay. So, all right, I got the Godzilla Kong Blu-ray. Got this one, so that's exciting. This is all in support of the home video release, the Blu-ray release, upcoming here on June 15th. It's available. So I'll post about this. And let's see here. Okay, we got Godzilla. I got Team Godzilla popcorn. I got Team Kong popcorn. So these will both I'll make good use of these for sure. And then it looks like we got oh, nice. This is a good one. Look, Godzilla Kong, but it's a Godzilla Kong size Hershey's bar. It's just a Hershey's bar, but it's got this sleeve on it. Okay, I got that. By the way, thanks for being in here, PLD, and running the show. We didn't even talk, and PLD's just in here with me because he's a moderator. I can't even get the sleeve back on. All right, that's fair. We got a blanket. Okay, this is pretty rock and roll, right? Look at this. Oh, it's a towel. We got a beach towel. Oh, that's pretty sweet, actually, right? Oh, that's actually kind of sweet. It's kind of a badass beach towel, I gotta say. You got that in the bottom here. You got Godzilla coming out of the water. I can work with this. This will be good. I can go to the beach with this. And then last couple things here. Looks like a couple shirts. Looks like we got the Team Godzilla shirt, and I'm assuming probably the other one is Team Kong. Now the question is, if you guys receive this box, would you wear the Team Godzilla shirt or would you wear the Team Kong shirt? I feel like Team Kong probably, right? I think so. So there you go, guys. That's our haul. That's our Godzilla Kong goodie box. So I'm sure I'll post some of this stuff, and big thanks to the folks over at Warner Brothers Legendary for sending this over. And yeah, awesome. It's fantastic. So there we go. Part one, box opening. Yeah, people are saying a lot of some Kong, some Zilla. I get you. All right, so jumping back over here. So what I do want to next move into Schmodown stuff. I'm going to talk, health. I'm going to talk music here in a little bit, but I do want to talk Schmodown stuff a little bit. Oh, interesting. So it's telling me I'm getting some alert over here that I'll have to deal with that later. If it sounds or looks like shit, if we're lagging, guys, let me know, because right now we seem to be coming in clean. But Schmodown. So got a couple things going on. Next Friday, I go head to head against Ethan Irwin, the great Irwin. He's a legend in movie trivia Schmodown now at this point. He's a singles teams belt winner. Never gotten there in teams, though neither have I. And, Irwin's a great player. He knows a lot. He famously doesn't really study, but he manages to show up no matter what, and watching through his old matches, it's rare that you see Irwin stumble. He usually really has it together. And so I know that this match is going to be a real match. I know this is going to be a challenge. And I know that if I don't prepare properly and I, don't really put in the work, Irwin's going to win. So I have to go in there as prepared as possible, and I need to take him as seriously as possible. And that's going to be a live match next Friday. So it's going to be, it's a Schmodown pay-per-view, which I'm really excited for. Kaiser and I have been talking a lot about it, trying to come up with what we think is the best strategy to be able to go in there and take care of business. And yeah, I think to jump over here to the question that was asked just a second ago in the Streamlabs, from Dragon 17, at some point, would you go into IG or Star Wars for real? I sometimes feel you diminish their level of play because, quote, they have a set movie list, and I really think it's harder than you think. It would be great for your resume to have an IG title, though. So it's a great question. I don't diminish those divisions because I think that they aren't great or awesome. What I mean when I say it's a set movie list is that to be really on top of the questions in those divisions, to be able to answer them all correctly, to be able to actually hit all your questions and blow people away. The thing about it is all you have to do is set out a goal for yourself, a path for yourself. Star Wars, it's a little different because in Star Wars, they can go so deep. It's like you don't really, I'm going to stand up while I talk to you guys because, my health stuff, we'll get into it. But, it's like the truth is that in those divisions, you get this like set list of movies to study. And because you get the set list of movies to study, specifically in Inner Geekdom, you end up with this thing where it's like, okay, if you spend X amount of days, you can watch every single movie. If you spend X amount of hours, you can watch every single movie, and then you can learn all of the details. You can make sheets. And it's like, I think Kevin Smets said it best once when he and I were talking. And I think what he said was, singles and teams are the hardest, but Inner Geekdom takes the most work. And I think that that's probably the really correct way to assess it because for me, it's not really a question of difficulty. If you know something isn't difficult, right? That's kind of the point. If you know something, it is inherently not sort of difficult. But if you don't know it, it's going to seem difficult because you're going to miss it. So to learn everything in Inner Geekdom, if you have the time, you're able to learn everything. If you're a talented player, if you're like a Mike, if you're somebody who has a memory for it like that, who's willing to put in the time, a Smets, that's you will learn everything. And I guess the one thing is that we saw Robert Parker in this match this last week miss a question, and ultimately that was in the end the reason that he didn't get it done. And Parker puts in a lot of work, so it's not to say that you'll be perfect if you spend all the time on it, but I think the reason I diminish them a little bit is because for me, I'm never going to have any control over the questions I'm going to get. I'm never going to have any control over what I see in round 1, 2, or 3. It's just 100% going to be random as far as what the writers are deciding to write at that point. And there will be matches where I know a lot, and there'll be matches where I don't. But the whole entire point, the whole goal with playing in singles and teams is that it's up to you to cover as wide a net as possible. And so I think that's why when I talk about them, that's the way I talk about them. Though, that being said, will I ever go into those divisions? I mean, Star Wars is a running joke, the 60 days thing, and I would love to go into Star Wars at some point because I do think with a reasonable amount of time, any good player could cover a lot of ground in Star Wars. I don't truly know if I would be able to win in Star Wars, but I do think I'd be able to cover a lot of ground in Star Wars. I think I'd be able to compete if I gave myself 60 days and I had the time to really commit to it. Inner Geekdom's a little different though, right? Inner Geekdom's sort of funky because Inner Geekdom, a lot of those movies cross over, right? Half the movies in Inner Geekdom are movies that I like or have watched. You ask me about Predator, I'll answer 5 pointers about Predator all day long, right? Like that's one of my favorite movies. That's one of 300 movies now. It's just in the division. The Alien movies, I love those movies. Like I've seen most of the movies in the Inner Geekdom division. So how you go in and study and kind of add that stuff to the repertoire, that's where it gets difficult. And I'll commend any of the players that have done well in that division because it does take work. But for me, like Mike's not going to be able to study and win a singles title because you can't study in singles to win a singles title if you've already been studying for years and haven't gotten it done. I could study and win an Inner Geekdom title. Like I know I could do it. I'm not saying I could do it easily. I'm not saying that what Mike or Smets or any of those guys or Mara have done is not impressive. What they have is incredibly impressive. They have put in the time. That's what's required. A lot of time is required. But that's kind of how I feel about it, I think. And so I think the real answer is, would I ever go into one of those divisions and try to win a belt? I mean, there is this part of me that thinks about Inner Geekdom, and I find the idea of it funny because Mike and I have such a, we have such a, I don't know, rivalry. It's just like, we're very competitive people. If you guys could have seen when Mike was over here on Saturday and we were hanging out, it was so funny. Just as Andrew says, it's like we both puff out our chests because, like, you know, it's a bunch of competitive ass dudes. So anyway, all that being said, getting back to the Irwin match for next Friday, I'm really excited for it. I think it's going to be a great time. Irwin is one of my favorite people. I think he's a tremendously competitive guy and knows a lot about movies and loves winning and hates losing as much as anybody. So I do expect the match to be, you know, a good one, to be very competitive. So I think that will conclude probably at least most of my Schmodown preview talk for the show. I do want to remind everybody and anybody here that I will be doing a 5-round head-to-head against Andrew Hayes in our Patreon, patreon.com/nerdsandssuits. So for anybody that has ever considered joining or has thought about it, it's a great time. We get to hang out, you know, run questions for an hour and a half once a week. Incredible group. All you guys work so hard together, and it's just enormously invaluable to my ability to compete at a high level. So Ryan R., I heard Mike buys sensitive marinara. That's what I hear too, man. I hear Mike's all about the sensitive marinara. But anyway, so join patreon.com/nerdsandssuits if you're interested. And for anybody who has not already signed up, we're 2 weeks into our one-on-ones that I've been doing, and I've got a handful of them left. I'm excited to hang out with some of you that I haven't gotten to see, and I appreciate those of you that have signed up. It's a lot of fun to get to talk with you guys and try to be of service in your life in any way that I can to be helpful in setting goals and things like that. So I tried to send out as many check-ins as I could today to kind of, you know, check in with people. I took the week off work this week as kind of a thing I mentioned I was doing last night on the show, and it's something I'm currently doing is I decided to take, you know, an actual week of like paid time off from the toy job, which I've been at for 4 years and I've never done, and I have a lot of other commitments, obviously, and Schmodown and all the other stuff that I do that I'm going to continue to do because I you know, those things are harder to those things aren't salaried. I haven't put in years of goodwill where I can take time off and the ship keeps running, so to speak. But you know, every once in a while in a job as many of us do have, you're able to, and I had never done that, so I have decided to do it this week, and I'm trying to use my time as effectively as possible. I spent quite a bit of time today going over all the technical specs on my computer here and trying to get everything running. Macs are just kind of a pain in the ass when it comes to running OBS, unfortunately, which is very annoying and frustrating considering how much of a beast this computer is, and that I should really have any struggle. But unfortunately, a lot of those programs are just sort of designed to work on PC. So I had to come up with a bunch of workarounds. But I do think as long as you guys are still verifying it, I think my audio is clean. I think my video is clean. We have now enabled our desktop audio. I don't totally know why when we were playing the intro, I could hear that sort of like loop back thing. It was the same thing that I was getting last week, but it does seem like the alert box is working. And I think, I mean, we can double check here, guys, but I think the computer audio actually is working now. I think I can actually just play something. Like let's test it. Let's just test it just because I want to see and make sure that it is in fact working the way that I expect it is. But let's just pretend that I was going to queue up. Let's pretend I was going to queue up a song. Let's say I was going to queue up my own song. Can you guys hear this? I think you should be able to hear this.
Let's get the story straight.
And if you can,
it's gonna be
it means that I have actually
tonight.
gotten my desktop audio working, which is awesome. And is it like
I
a
keep
normal,
it short
good
and
volume?
sweet. I'll finally be there on time. And just
There we
because
go.
we're in love,
Nice.
don't make it right.
All right. Well, we've
And
heard
you
this
know
song
what
before,
you-
so you can pause that one. But yeah, anyway, guys. So I spent quite a bit of time, today getting all this figured out so that I could actually try to stream and have it look clean. And it's exciting. It's exciting that it's all working because it means I can watch trailers and do reactions. And I think that the whole setup is all going to be good to go from here on out. So, you know, we are making steps forward. I know I will get a copyright strike on my own song. Maybe not. Actually, I probably won't because I think technically that song is registered to this channel. So I think the copyright is clear like that. But anyway, I'm rambling, guys. So the stuff that I wanted to talk to you guys about, you know, we mentioned some of the Schmodown stuff. PLD, Yeah, he's amazed. I know, man. Couldn't believe it. That's what happens when you actually put in some time. But so yeah, some of the other stuff that I wanted to talk to you guys about that has been on my mind. I like to use every week a little bit of this platform here to do a little bit of a soapbox. So I'll probably get into that in a few minutes. I think what I want to do first is I want to do a little bit of a what's it called? A movie review. So a couple things. The first one that I want to do is talk about In the Heights. So In the Heights, I saw last Monday. I saw it a week ago. It opened over the weekend. You guys can stream it. You guys can rent it. It's in theaters. I highly recommend seeing it in a theater if you're able to. It's a beautiful film. It is a very much a musical, and I have issues with musicals in general for the normal reason that anybody has issues with musicals, which is like, I get a little tired of people just singing at each other instead of talking at each other. But the thing is that once the songs get stuck in your head and once it sort of feels normal, it's not as like sort of off-putting as I think it seems at first when it seems kind of unnatural. And so you eventually just sort of get used to it. And that's in the end what happened to me, is I eventually just sort of got used to it. And then, of course, the songs are just wonderful in the Heights. And so for that reason, it's a wonderful, wonderful presentation, great film to watch. It looks great. I loved all the actors. They cast a whole group of actors that could sing, which was especially cool. And I feel like in musicals, often you don't see that. They cast performers that can't really sing. But in general, this one is one that I definitely recommend. It's a little long. I would say that's probably the only like real big takeaway, is that I think it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. And I feel like it probably could have been like a little under 2 hours. Like it probably could have been like an hour 50. It seems like a couple of the songs were, and maybe this is just personal preference, but that thing in musicals where like, you know, the dramatic ones and the really beautiful ones, I think that's kind of what makes musicals great for me. That's like, in my personal opinion, what I like. But there still are those songs in musicals where it's like everybody's dancing and having fun and it's high energy and they're like the fun songs. I kind of hate those songs in musicals. And I always find that when they start, I'm always like, okay, just fast forward and get this scene over with, because that's not really what I'm into when I watch musicals. But that's, I think, probably to each their own. And that's just, you know, my personal opinion for sort of how I feel about them. I would just tell you guys that if you're thinking about seeing any movie in a theater and you have considered one or another, this is a great one to go see. I think you would really, really enjoy it. And it's very much a film that is... it's just very much a film that's worth seeing in a theater. So if you have an opportunity to, I highly recommend it. Guys, there's about 40, 50 of you watching right now, so do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button on this video. There's a few things that I want to get into here that I will get into in just a minute, but I do want to talk a little bit more about a couple movie reviews before we move on. But do me that favor and hit the thumbs up. If you haven't already hit subscribe, of course, hit subscribe, and we will continue talking movies here. The next movie I want to talk about is The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. I didn't love the original Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. I didn't hate it. I saw half of it on an airplane. It was fun enough, you know, like it's got some good gimmicks, performers that I like. I'm a fan of Sam Jackson. I'm a fan of Ryan Reynolds. They add a few new cast members to this one. You know, you got a few people in there. Antonio Banderas, Selma Hayek. I think Morgan Freeman was not in the first one. They add a handful of people to this one, and you know, it's got some funny stuff going for it. There's this thing that happens sometimes where a performer who is full of charisma will be hired to do a role, and their role ends up being a lot of yelling and screaming.
100%.
And
Good
hey,
job.
big hair tussle to you, Cutter. Thanks for that, my friend. It's just good to see Swayze doing naked yoga every time, guys. But there's this thing that'll happen sometimes where you see a performer and they start doing their thing, and it's like they're yelling and they're screaming, and what you feel in the end is that
100%.
so much.
Good job.
I love it. Swayze every time. And it feels like what's happening when you're watching it is this person was hired because they're a great star and they committed to the idea of bringing all this energy to their performance. But then in reality, it gets old very fast. And if they're on screen too much, it just gets a little exhausting. If any of you guys remember like John Malkovich back in Burn After Reading, or that's how Salma Hayek feels in this film. She's great, but she also sort of just takes over the screen, and she's just in the movie so much, and she's doing her thing, her angry thing, and she's vulgar, and it's, you know, she does a good job with it, but I found it a little exhausting. So I wouldn't give the movie a great review. I think if you like action comedies, it's probably a good time for you. I have a feeling you'll get a good laugh out of it, and especially if you like the first one, it's probably a worthwhile watch. But yeah, that's kind of where I stand on that film for now. And then, of course, I'm going to see F9 on Thursday with Drew. We're going to be doing a review of it over on Action Industries, which I'm very, very, very excited about. And yeah, I've heard it's bonkers. I've heard it's totally bananas insane. So that should be really, really fun. I'm gonna transition back to sitting here, guys, as my legs go numb. Hang on. So I'm really excited about that one. It's gonna be super, super fun to watch that on Thursday. And like I said, we're gonna do a review of it. We've been kind of talking about the format that we want to do, and, you know, sort of what's it going to look like, and we want to start doing more consistent reviews on the channel anyway over on Action Industries. So that should be really, really fun. I was trying to think if I watched anything else in the last couple days. It is a sweet standing desk, Lucas. Thank you. It's highly, highly necessary. So yeah, for movie review stuff, I think that's kind of the stuff that comes to mind right off the bat. I will address kind of health-wise what's going on. You know, I try to not harp on it too much, but it seems these days that so much of my bandwidth is taken up with sort of fighting this health crisis in my life. It takes up a lot of my my energy, and you know, I try to keep you guys updated on it because I talk to my friends and my family, but I know that some of you guys, you know, I feel like some of you guys have your own issues, you have your own challenges, and maybe it's helpful, I don't know, for us both to helpful for us both to be able to kind of go through that.
Tom, good job.
And let's see here. Sorry guys, got distracted there for a quick second. So yeah, what's kind of going on at the moment is that, you know, I am seeing this physical therapist that I really like, and it's great. And if any of you have ever had to do physical therapy, you know that it's a little frustrating because you sort of feel like they're telling you to do these things. None of them are quick fixes. You do your rehab, doing rehab with a physical therapist kind of sucks. It's a lot of like slow movement stuff that's not particularly gratifying. It's just, you know, it's usually weak parts of your body. Weak parts of your body have created some kind of pain, so they're trying to strengthen those weak parts. That's just sort of the story of physical therapy for most people. And so I started seeing this guy, and I really like him. I really like the office that I'm going to. I think they're fantastic. They definitely have been, you know, brightening my spirit. But at the same time, I am dealing with, you know, quite a bit of back discomfort on a day-to-day basis. And it's not just pain. It is pain. It's an unfortunate amount of pain, but it's also numbness, which is such a shitty feeling. It's in the back of my hamstrings and my calves a lot. And it's just like, it's like sort of my legs feel weak. And what's happening is I have a nerve root that's, you know, base of my spine, that I have a disc that's pressing on it. So it's creating this, you know, numbness and weakness. It's not so different from what happened before my surgery. It's kind of the same thing. And, you know, you push through it. Throughout my day-to-day at the moment, things are a little better than they were, say, like a month ago. You know, I've been trying to get 10,000 steps a day, and that seems to be pretty doable. You know, I went to the gym today. So I'm certainly able to live and function. It's just that sometimes it's a little bit more uncomfortable. And that's kind of that's the current battle. It just sucks. Like, I woke up at 4 a.m. this morning, and my legs were kind of numb, and it was uncomfortable, and I couldn't go back to sleep. And so it was like it took me 4 hours to get back to sleep. By the time I got back to sleep, it was like 8:30 in the morning, and I should have been getting out of bed. So, you know, it is what it is. Like I said, I am fighting that battle. I think there's a decent chance there's some inevitability to maybe just ending up having to get another surgery at some point. If it happens, it happens. At this point, I'm kind of just making plans for what's next in my life one way or another. And if a surgery happens, a surgery happens, and we'll rehab it, and that'll be that. But that is kind of the update. That's why, when I do the sitting standing thing, it's not because I'm trying to be preventative. It's because I'm usually experiencing some kind of discomfort during the stream, and I'm just trying to alleviate it. So alternating tends to be the best, one of the best things you can do. So now the second thing I want to talk to you guys about, and this one is kind of, every week I'll use a little bit of time in here to talk about some personal motivation stuff, some ideas, things that I hope kind of will speak to you guys on a personal level. I always try to come up with something that I've been thinking about. And one thing I was thinking a lot about today and yesterday as I was getting ready for this week that I hope speaks to you guys is that, so all of us, everybody watching this show, probably myself, all the creative people, my friends in Los Angeles, my friends who are watching this who are not in Los Angeles, we all kind of have similar sensibilities when it comes to creating things. And when I say creating, I don't just mean writing or drawing or writing songs or what have you. I'm also just talking about creating, whether it's like a work thing, like if you want to put together a spreadsheet for your job, if you have some new project or something creative that you think would be helpful in your particular line of work, whatever it is, we all create these ideas. If you want to create a diet plan for yourself, you create these ideas. You talk to your friends and family about them. You plan to do them. I think many of us, this is definitely the way I feel. I reflect a lot of my sort of status or quality or progress. I reflect it based on these things I come up with and whether or not I stick with them. So for me, a lot of those things are very public. I talk to you guys about them. I obviously do a lot of content here between Action and Nerds and Suits. I come up with study plans to try to perform better in the Movie Trivia Schmodown, doing content on this channel. When we launched this channel, there was a lot of stuff that I was doing on here that was very time consuming. I'm doing a lot less of those things. So all this to say, you finally sort of get to a place where I think you look at all the plans you've made in your life, and a lot of us set those goals or make those plans, and we don't do the thing. And you've talked to your friends about it. You've talked to your family about it. And you've put those things out there in the world. And now you have this idea, which is that if you don't do the thing that you said you were going to do or planned you were going to do, that you failed, right? And that let's just say, as an example, let's say you're somebody who wants to write. You say you're going to write every day, and then 6 months pass and you haven't written anything. And now you've told yourself and people and friends that what you wanted to do is write every day. You didn't do it. So now if you start writing, it feels like weak or loose. It doesn't feel as triumphant or exciting, right? But the thing is, that whole entire idea of the expectation of is it good or bad, or are you succeeding or not, that's based on your idea of what other people think, right? It's based entirely off of what you think other people think. Even if you say something to someone, even if you tell them, hey, I'm going to write every single day, and then you don't. First of all, people are selfish. They're probably not really thinking about you and what you're doing. They're probably thinking about it for a second, then they're moving on. But even if they say to you, like, even if they act, disappointed in you, if they're critical of you openly, which they probably wouldn't be, that's also, like, people are complex. So whatever they're expressing to you and they're saying that they feel about it, that's making you feel a certain way about yourself, it's all sort of a temporary phenomenon, right? Like, what it really comes down to is, why did you want to do the thing in the first place? If you're a writer, did you want to write because you wanted to create? If you are a musician, is it because you enjoy playing songs? If you do want to pitch this thing at work, is it because the goal is to pitch this thing to work so that you can make more money, so that you'll be, more noticed? Whatever it is, whatever the thing is, all you have to do the day you wake up and you have all these thoughts and these critical thoughts of yourself that you're not doing the thing that you said you were going to do, is to say, whatever happened in the past, who gives a shit, right? It should be you are the only one who's giving a shit. If there's a direct consequence, if you get fired, if your bandmate quits the band because, you're not doing the work, deal with it then. That's the consequence, Now it's up to you. You've got to deal with the consequence. But if it's not a direct consequence that you're dealing with, and if it's just actually what's in front of you, then get up that day and just fucking do it. That's it, right? I got a great message today from Alex Quatermass, who I think is in the chat. And Alex and I go back and forth sometimes on Patreon. And Alex was, saying, give me some updates. And then Alex was like, hey, I started watching some old episodes of Song from the Scene. That show was really neat. I hope you bring it back. And I thought to myself, I've talked about bringing that show back a handful of times. You know, I've made proclamations live on this show many times that I'd like to bring that show back and great conversation and do them more consistently. And life gets busy, and that's just the reality of it. But the thing is, any episode of that show that I do at any time, I'll probably be happy with because I liked that show. I enjoyed it. It was a show that I liked doing. I liked putting it out there. You guys are very supportive of it. The comments were always really warm. It combines the things I love very well. And if I don't do it, that's okay too. Nobody's expecting me to do it. It's just something I was going to do. It was part of this channel. It was something that I wanted to do. If I choose to not bring that show back and never do it again, the regret or the feeling of loss is mine to own. So the reason I say all this and the reason I bring all this up is because this week, as I'm taking some time off and trying to, give myself a bit of freedom when it comes to being a creative person, to work on some projects that I have in mind, I'm trying to remember why I want to do those things. What's the reason? And I think that that's a huge piece. It's a huge piece of all of our lives when it comes to creating. I know many of you who watch this show are creative people. A lot of the names that I see in the chat here, you've messaged me. We've talked about it, a lot of us all together, whether it's in the one-on-one sessions we do, if it's I've seen you posting, on all levels. Like I can even just shout a few people out in here. I know Dallas has a candle business that she's really excited about that I've seen. I know that Megs works extremely hard on stats and she's very invested in that stuff. And that's a new thing that over the last year she's worked a lot on. I know Matty Gunner obviously is a creative person. He's a competitive fighter, but he's also a musician. I've talked to a lot of you guys about the things that you want to do, that you work on. Jake does incredible graphic design work. Why are you doing it is the question. For any one of you that I just shouted out, and I apologize if anybody got shouted out in a way that was not appropriate. I hope that was okay. But why are you doing it? Like, what's the point? What's the reason? And you have to figure that reason out. You have to be honest with yourself about the reason that you're doing it. Because the truth of the matter is, if you succeed at something that you don't know why you're doing, the success won't be sweet. And if you fail at something that you don't know why you're doing, you definitely won't go back to it. You'll just give up. You'll walk away from it. So it's very, very, very important to remember that. It's very important to remember that. Over in the chat here, I'm at Ramberg Candle Co. That's from Dallas. So go check that out. But yeah, anyway, guys, it's just something to think about. It's just something to think about. Why do you do the creative things that you do? And when you say you're going to do them to yourself or other people and you don't, it's okay. Just start today. Start today or start tomorrow. Write a plan for yourself. I thought a lot today. I'm just going to, be honest with you guys and open up just because this is something that I think is pretty. There's a huge fly in here. How'd that fly get in here? All right. Well, it's unfortunate. Something I was thinking about was, for back health, one of the things, the common things that is, can be difficult is weight gain. That's a common thing. You guys all know that. I'm not, reinventing the wheel with that. But over the course of quarantine, I gained a bunch of weight that I wasn't very happy to gain. And nobody likes to gain weight really, but I gained this weight and it sucks. It makes me, I feel shitty about it, but also I was thinking a lot today about the fact that I have all this fucking back pain. There's all this compression on my spine. And as much as I want to lose weight for cosmetic reasons, there's also just like the reality, which is that if I set my mind to it, I've set my mind to 100 things in my life and I've accomplished most all of the ones that have mattered the most. If I set my mind to that and there's a reason, and the reason is to try to alleviate some stress and pressure on my back, it'll probably work. But I have to want it. I have to believe it. And it can't just be like, I want to be able to fit into suits that I fit into 5 years ago. It's like, I want to feel better in the morning when I wake up. So I'm going to fucking set a plan for myself and commit to it. And I thought about that today and it was like, all right, so, write the plan. Write the plan and stick to it every single day and you'll get the result that you want. Anyway, that's what I was thinking about, guys. That's kind of the stream of consciousness there when it comes to goal setting and all that type of stuff. There's about 50 of you guys watching this here so far tonight. Thank you guys so much for hanging with me, for being a part of this show. Hopefully we have continued to actually have clean and clear audio this whole show. I'm stunned that this has managed to work. And I think it's very, very, very exciting. So a couple other people here in the chat that sent in Streamlabs and Super Chats. We did get to hear the 100% Utah and see Naked Swayze on screen. for a bit, which was exciting. I'm going to shout them out here. Cutter Hale in here just a few minutes ago. Sorry I'm late. It was a long day, so I went to the movies to take my mind off things. Hope everyone is doing well. Can't believe we're finally like a week away from Fast 9. Also been, for the love of things, pure skip Tokyo Drift. Save yourself the pain. Also for all the love of all things. Yeah, I can't skip Tokyo Drift, unfortunately. Call sign hashtag Ladies Night John Lestrina has made it his mission in life for me to watch that film, and I do owe him that. So I do have to do that. I will do that before. I guess I'll have to watch it this week. Shit, maybe I'll watch that tonight. Kaylee Vaughn here with the Streamlab donation. Glad to hear about In the Heights. I'm going to see it tomorrow. I love musicals, so everyone be prepared to hear about one of my favorite classic musicals in Wednesday's session. Kaylee Vaughn is doing the share at the end of the session. That's one thing we started doing a couple weeks ago, which is exciting. Every week, I randomly select one person who's in the study session with us, and they have the floor for 5 minutes the next session to talk about any movie they want, and essentially tell us why it's great. It could be any movie, as long as it qualifies for the Movie Trivia Schmodown. And it's a great way for us, for Dan or myself to learn about a movie that maybe we're a little less familiar with. And also just who doesn't love talking about their favorite movies? That's something that we all love doing. And it's Kaylee who's doing it this week. We had Joe in here, Prince That Wasn't Promised. He talked about Boondock Saints a couple weeks ago. Quiz Show last week talked about Popstar Never Stop Stopping, one of the best ever. So Kaylee, I'm sure I'll hear about one of your classic favorite musicals on Wednesday, and maybe I probably haven't seen it. That's just the truth. I have not seen that many musicals. And then Ryan in Dallas with the Streamlab donation, killing it in the Schmodown, making new songs, and your audio have definitely leveled up.
100% Utah.
100% Utah. Good job. Cutter Hale also with the Streamlab just now. Did you watch Band Slam? Cutter, I have not yet watched Band Slam. I have been a little bit preoccupied with old movie things. There's a lot of old movies that are on my list that I'd like to watch, and I haven't been watching as many of them actually. I've been watching newer films, so I just haven't sort of had as much time. But I am trying to clear up some time and space to be able to do that. Tonight I'm actually going to be doing kind of a fun thing. Normally on Mondays we jump over and we do. Normally on Mondays we jump over and we do a stream over at twitch.tv/Kess Wiley, which is Alex Kessler. He's my co-host on the Masters of Modern podcast, but Alex is busy tonight, so we can't do that. So I will be streaming. I'll be actually streaming some Magic the Gathering Arena, which is a super fun program. It's Magic the Gathering online basically, and I'm going to be doing that right as soon as this is over at 7:30. I'll be queuing that up and streaming, and I think I'm gonna have it'll be proper. I should actually be able to screen share the game itself with correct audio, and then I also should have a chat box as well so that I can talk to you guys, and it should be a better setup than it used to be. It won't be on my Twitch. It'll be over on twitch.tv/Kess Wiley, which is the one that we use for the podcast. And then maybe I'll jump over to mine later, but I am going to be streaming for about an hour, probably doing that as well. So if you guys are fans of Magic, if you've ever considered getting into Magic, Post Malone played a game of Magic with our friends over at the Command Zone this week on their show Game Nights, which is pretty awesome. That got posted. It's a huge getting posted in there. That show Game Nights is really fun. Alex and I have both been on that show in the past, and it was very cool to see post in there. So Magic getting some good shine this week. So if you guys are interested in hanging out with me, go to twitch.tv/Kess Wiley, KESSWYLIE, and that's where I'll be for about an hour at 7:30, streaming a little bit of Arena. Let's talk a little bit of music before I get out of here. We've got about 10 more minutes. Any questions, thoughts, comments that you guys have, let me know. So my next song, Late Night Love Song, drops in 2 weeks. It is going to be officially dropping in 2 weeks. I can't wait. It is one of my favorite songs that I have ever done. It's from a few years ago, actually, but the recorded version we have sounds great. I know I played you guys the near master version of that song on the... I think it was in Studio Diary a few weeks ago. I'm doing the next Studio Diary this weekend, by the way. For those of you that don't know what that is, it's a series that we do over at patreon.com/nerdsandsuits, where right now it's about once a month. I'm going in and I play you guys all of the stuff that I'm working on, all the new songs, the bits, the pieces, just the stuff, new ideas that I have as they're forming. And So I've got a new thing I started working on. I'll be playing this weekend. I've got another thing from 2 weeks ago I'll be playing, and Late Night Love Song. You know, what I was actually even thinking about, this could be kind of a cool thing, would be maybe I would actually do a live performance of Late Night Love Song on the show here to close out the show. Normally I wouldn't do that. I like to kind of keep the songs a little bit more. I like to keep the song just a little bit more, like I guess exclusive until they launch. But at the same time, I like the song, and some of you guys have heard it, like some of you guys have watched it live when I played the show, and so I was just thinking maybe just performing the song here to end the stream would be kind of a nice way to end the stream. A little bit of a preview of the next track dropping, which will be hitting in 2 weeks. I should have the album artwork probably up by Friday, because I'm going to start promoting it similarly like I did last time, 1 week ahead. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. That same day, on the 28th of June, I'll be announcing all my tour dates in November. So the full run of cities I'll be announcing on the 28th. It's 2 weeks from today. You can see in the chat here there is a Google form that you can, if you click on that, it takes about 15 seconds to fill out, and all it is a list that lets me know where you guys are, so that I can know where to plan the tour dates. I have a pretty good idea right now of where it's going to be. I'm pretty sure I know, but if you guys click this form and you haven't already done it, I feel like a lot of you guys probably already have, but if you haven't already done it, let me know. I'm going to be bringing people out on the road with me. I'm going to be bringing, Drew's going to be out on the road with me for one of the shows for sure, and I've talked to Kaiser about coming at least to one of the shows. Some, maybe some comics, Mulligan had talked about it. Maybe it could be really fun. And so I'm definitely super, super excited about it. Do me a favor and click on that and fill out the form so I know where to go, because there's about 150 of you guys so far that have actually filled it out, which is really, really awesome. But if you haven't already filled it out, it's a great thing to do, just because I definitely am looking forward to the tour very much. And if you have not already filled it out, it is in the chat. So do me that favor. I think, maybe the last thing we do here before we get out of here is maybe the live performance of, maybe I'll play like 2 songs before we get out of here, guys. What do you think about that? I do something called Studio Diary every month or so, where I go in, I play for an hour, and I kind of show you guys a bunch of stuff I'm working on, and those do live as unlisted things. So I have some new stuff I've been working on. I'm going to show you guys this weekend. So go to patreon.com, and there you go. All right, guys, thank you so much. I will see you all very, very soon, and have a great night, everybody. Bye, guys.